Hey guys, this is here bringing you another video and welcome to another viewer spectate. Today we are watching Fraz once again, who is obviously a very well-known Mundo player within our community, has peaked into Master. And the reason for this one is, I don't think it's as much education for him, because obviously he knows what he's doing on Mundo, but it's more education for everyone, especially if you play top right now, because he's against the VAYNE top. And if you've been playing top lane at the moment, you probably have been cursed by playing against VAYNE tops. It's become popular. It's strong-ish, and when I say strong-ish, it is strong, but obviously it's a cheese pick, so it does have its negatives as well. It usually makes your team comp not well-rounded, but because of how strong individually VAYNE can be, sometimes it just doesn't matter. Like a VAYNE, you know, especially in top lane being the island 1v1 lane, if a VAYNE just kills a top lane in 1v1, well, then it's fine, right? But anyway, very quickly, runes. We've got Grasp of the Undying, Demolish, Second Wind, Overgrowth, and then Inspiration Tree, Magical Footwear, Approach Velocity, Attack Speed, Health, and both based on level. Obviously, the new health runes and everything are nice on a bunch of different characters. Mundo is definitely one. Like 743 health does seem quite high at level 1, and obviously that is the leveling health, not even the flat health that you could take if you wanted a really strong early game. And you know, some people are like, you know, why would Mundo potentially not take the flat health just to be even stronger? Against the VAYNE, it's kind of redundant because she does her W true damage is based on health, so it's not, you know, yeah, it would give you a stronger early game because you just have more health, but I think this matchup and a lot of matchups are just about scaling well. So going with the health for scaling a lot of the time is just going to be the better angle to do. So what I'd expect Fraz, and I've not watched this game by the way, what I expect Fraz to do is play a relatively safe lane phase without letting VAYNE build a lead. One of the worst things that people do against something like VAYNE is that they get tilted. I'm against a VAYNE top, this is very annoying, and they take bad trades, and that wasn't too bad. They take bad trades, or they get really tilted and go, oh no, screw it, I'm killing this VAYNE, and then they die. And then VAYNE gains all the farm, all the XP, and you're dead. And that's how her snowballing happens. If you actually just lane relatively even against the VAYNE, and yes, you're going to get poked a bit, but if you just lane and last hit, it actually doesn't make her advantage that big, because her advantage is the, oh, I can beat you in fights. So if you more just focus on dueling and trading, it's probably the better way to go. And I will say this obviously works better on Mundo than other top laners, and she's trying to deny the cannon. She doesn't in the end, but Mundo does take quite a lot of damage for that, naturally. But what I was going to say is Mundo, hello puppy, Mundo is one of the better top laners to probably go against VAYNE for two reasons. One, he actually has, as a melee champion, a ranged move, so he actually can farm with his Q. That's useful. Secondly, VAYNE technically can't use Condemn. So this is actually a really nice thing, and this is something that you can't really ignore. Jungle help is also something that would be required against something like a VAYNE. It's very useful. Again, she is a cheese pick, so she is going to probably suffer quite heavily to ganks. So if you're a top laner, you know, in Champ Select, if you see you're against the VAYNE, type a nice friendly message to your jungler, be really nice to them, be like, yo, hey, you're great, you're good looking, come top lane, why not? So it is something I would consider. But anyway, Mundo going to take a base. Diana is getting a kill against a Nasus. I don't know why it's a Nasus mid, no idea. I have actually weirdly seen some Nasuses mid recently. I think hilariously the most common one that I've seen is a Katarina one trick who got banned, and then Nasus was her alternate pick, which is odd. Oh, good girl. Maya has decided to join us in the office and lay down in her bed, so that's good. But yeah, so hopefully we will, you know, continue seeing Fraz farming well, and it may be a little bit of a boring early game, by the way. I think this game does definitely get spicier later, but this is actually legit, and I know it's a bit boring to watch, but if you're a top laner and you're like, dude, the VAYNE top, this is how you're supposed to play it. Do not just constantly fight her. Yes, there's a chance that you could get a kill, but there's quite a big one that you won't, and that's when a VAYNE's going to just start wrecking face. If a VAYNE gets an early lead, extends the early lead, let's say gets an XP lead, you're kind of screwed. Where right now, Fraz has got an XP lead. He's actually got a small farm lead. This is where you want to be, and it's all because he's not actively fighting her. he's farming. That's it. Because the Vayne, trust me, a Vayne in top being a cheese pick, the player knows that they're a cheese pick, obviously. The Vayne in her mind will have more about trading with you than you should have with her. You should be just farming last hits XP. She will be, you know, yeah, farming last hits XP. But also in her mind is, oh, I need to try and poke. I need to harass. It's an extra thing for her to do, not you. Unless you're playing something weird, I guess, like Teemo, then yeah, Teemo top or a range top in general might be able to play it differently, more fighty. But if you're playing a typical top laner, and I mean most typical top laners, melee, slow, etc., yeah, don't. just don't fight. So Grub's spawning. Fraz has hit 6. He's walking down. Dinah's gone pretty early. Ghost is happening. He does manage to get there. He's going on the Vine. Remember, he can't get straight up CC'd easily here, so it does work quite well. Diana did do what she could. Nasus in his ultimate as well. Bard is here. Hilariously, can you see who's the missing piece in this puzzle? The jungler. Of all things to not turn up to Grubs, normally the jungler is not one of them. Normally the jungler is there. So a bit weird to see that the Viego didn't go there. Obviously, depends your playstyle. There are some junglers that literally don't care about the first round of Grubs. They'll always just go do the first dragon and secure the first dragon lead. I mean, obviously in the most amazing world is you get the dragon and you get the Grubs. It's hard to do that if the enemy team is a bit on top of it. But it can happen. I've done it, but yeah. So I think the enemy team managed to get 1, so there's 2 remaining. Just reminding everyone, because people still don't really know much about the Grubs, it seems. You only start spawning those mites, so the actual little grub things that actually help you attack towers. You'll do more tower damage having more buffs, but to actually spawn those grubby mite things, you need 5 stacks of that. Basically, you know, you need to kill 5 of the big ones, 1 per stack, in order to get those spawning. So the fact that the Vi got 1, but now red team has got 2, if red team secures all 3 of the grubs, they will actually... Oh, this is nice. She uses Ghost. That's not bad. Not a bad trade there at all. Again, anything as well, it's also worth mentioning. Yeah, you'd love to kill a Vayne, sure. But you don't have to. And that's amazing. Like, that was really risky. They pulled it off. Fantastic. But there's no point risking that hard, because if the Vayne got a cheeky kill, that's disastrous. But, well, again, going on the playstyle, just say, look at the farm difference between Mundo and Vayne. This is what I mean. Fraz, in his mind, is basically phasing out the Vayne of, I'm not fighting you, I don't care, but I'm going to farm really well. And if we look in gold lead, you know, both of them have got similar, 1 kill each. Fraz has got an assist, which is but a big farm lead. Oh, I can't do it. The keybind has decided not to work. Sag. And there's no button. It's default on X, but it doesn't work right now. Oh, that's sad. Otherwise, I would have showed you the gold lead between these two. You can see, obviously, blue team to red team. There's over a 2,000 gold lead. A decent amount of that is just in top lane. A decent amount. Probably over 1,000 gold right now in top lane difference, I would say. Ish. Maybe a bit less, but yeah. So build-wise, and you know, this is the negative thing about Mundo. He is a health-building champion, and Vayne is a health-killing champion. And not by just the generic sense of I do damage, so you're doing health damage. She does more damage to things that build health. So it is somewhat of a counter. The thing that Mundo has got going for him, and this is kind of like where... Is it balanced or not? And this is where, like, if you're against a Vayne in Champ Select, this is where you should consider playing Mundo, even though it doesn't sound probably like the smartest thing because of the whole health angle. The more health Mundo buys, and then he eventually gets a Titanic Hydra, Mundo's damage is bonkers, like literally ludicrous. And there will potentially be a stage in this game that Fraz will 2 or 3 hit this Vayne. So with his ultimate that she can't condemn him away because of his passive, that's Vayne's only form of CC. So when she condemns him and his passive is available in a 1v1, the condemn won't work. He's got Ghost himself. He's a fairly fast champion anyway. His ultimate speeds him up. He should be able to get a few auto attacks on a Vayne, and with Titanic, she will die in mid to late game. But that's the goal. So we'll see how well that plays out. But that's why I think Mundo is the answer to a lot of top laners' problems at the moment of... Oh, that's bad by Vi. So what the Vi really wanted to do there, and they might still kill Fraz here. There's a... Oh! Or not. He's, again, because Fraz has done so well in focusing up, he's 2 levels above the Vayne. Look at this. The Vayne just has to now run away, and Diana roams, and boom, Fraz is on a killing spree. This is the power of basically ignoring that you're against a cheese top laner. And some people may say, like, oh, the Vayne could have played it more aggro, she could have auto-attacked more. Not really. Like, realistically, no. Because if she did it more and more and more, her last hits would have suffered even more. She would have then tanked minions more. And also, I would say Fraz actually controlled minion waves fairly well. He pushed at the right times. He let the wave push against him at the right times. A lot of the time, if you notice, he has been pushing it because it puts more pressure on the Vayne. You have to hit minions, not me. Otherwise, you're getting no last hits because the tower will take it. So all of this is kind of calculated. So again, I do see matchups that if someone plays it badly on Mundo, it could go disastrous for a Mundo against the Vayne. But if you play like this, passive-ish in the early game, but really focus on farming gold, I actually think most people would do quite well against the average Vayne top. And when I say the average Vayne top, this is a diamond game, so it's above average. But the average Vayne top lane, without sounding too bad, they're not great at the game. That's why they're playing Vayne top. They don't feel that they can beat people on an even setting top laner versus top laner, so they're taking something a bit cheesy to try and cheese win it. So they're a lot of the time not the best top laners, they're not the best players. So, naturally, a good top laner who plays it correctly can do quite well. Now, here's the annoying thing, right? Logically, now, and that's what the Vi exactly just did, Vi really focused on just getting one straight away. Why? Because that now makes neither team be able to get those the little mites. Because now there's only 2 available. Red team has got 2 stacks. And then, boom, she used Condemn. Look at that. Look at that damage already. That's just Heartsteel damage, let alone Titanic later. And I think he'll get Titanic 3rd item as well. So I'd say the Dino's done a really good job. Nice. The Dino's done a really good job of doing well in mid and outly roaming. And a lot of people have always said, like, you know, I'm not a big fan of roaming, which is true by default, but there are certain times that it's good. If you're playing Diana, an AP assassin, and you're against a Nasus mid, she got an early kill on him, but he's got a Spectra's Cowl, he's got a Null Mantle. She's not going to kill him by himself, so roaming is the key. You know Nasus isn't going to roam. It's a Nasus. He wants to just sit there and queue for like half an hour, so he's not going to follow any roams. So that's where it is smart for a Diana to do it. It makes sense. Especially roam to top lane where there's a cheese Vayne pick. It's literally perfect. And here we go. So, Vayne now we know doesn't have it. She tries to condemn Mundo. It doesn't work because it's a Mundo. Vi is obviously here again trying to help out. Mundo's just walking. And auto, she's dead. Vi trying her best, but Mundo's already quite tanky. Heartsteel prac, thank you very much. And Mundo will probably walk on and have a very nice day. So this exactly just shows you, if you focus the right thing, which is hilariously not the Vayne in the early game, get yourself to a very strong point, you just walk over her. This isn't crazy. This is simply a weak AD carry against a strong Juggernaut. This is what should happen. And yes, I know it's Vayne and all that, but like genuinely, this is what should happen into a strong Juggernaut, tongue twister, versus a weak AD carry. If it's Vayne, if it's Jhin, whoever, any of them should die. Because AD carries obviously have a bad reputation for being very complainy. Genuinely, I think the only reason that they have a reputation for that is a lot of AD carries just don't simply understand they should be dead. Like, the very premise of an AD carry is crazy amounts of damage with basically no defense, that everything is trying to kill you. It makes sense. So Mundo going aggressive with Ghost. Oh, very nice Bard ult. Mundo get in the way. And again, this is where positioning. He positioned in front of the Vi, so she couldn't Q then forward. He hits the Q. Hello, Mr. Zereth. Very nice, another kill. And you now can just start kind of steamrolling over the enemy team. Unfortunately, Bard goes down. The another kill for Fraz. 602 right now was a flash from, I think it was Viego. But yeah, And the funny thing is, if you look at the enemy team, they're full AD apart from a Zera support who's never going to do obscene amount of damage. Yes, you could always say, oh, they've got VAYNE, it's a counter to Mundo. Not when he gets this fed. Like, genuinely, yeah, maybe if everyone gets the 6 items, then maybe a VAYNE can do something. But as I said earlier, and we're not even there yet, Mundo will walk over a VAYNE when he gets Titanic. He's walking over her now, and he doesn't even have that yet. His damage is high. Then get a Titanic, and she will just go pop. So this is where, like, I will say, like, this is one of how to deal with VAYNE top lane, and I think it's an educational thing to put out there, because a lot of people are struggling against VAYNE. Also, Mundo is quite strong. Fraz probably won't like me saying that, but he is quite a strong pick. And what's good about Mundo is he's kind of, like, understated. There are some picks in League that are strong, and everyone's like, yeah, well, obviously we know that's strong. Mundo is strong, but not many people think about Mundo. It's kind of like Rumble. Rumble, a lot of the time, goes under the radar until he becomes really known. And I think that's kind of where Mundo is as a champion at the moment, is he's kind of under the radar. And maybe if people kind of go, wait, Mundo, and then more people look into him, people will kind of realize. So what is now Fraz looking to do? This is the smart top lane play. You do really well in your own lane. You're really fed. What are you supposed to do? Not stay top. Split pushing meta was a massive thing, obviously, last year in top lane. It isn't really supposed to be anymore. Like, Hullbreaker is massively nerfed. You're still seeing it a lot. People are still doing stupid split push meta as top lane. Why? Not because it's default. It got nerfed, right? It made towers harder to kill. They nerfed Hullbreaker. Riot has actually tried to get rid of split push meta in top lane, but why are people still doing it? Because they don't know what else to do. They had a whole season, all top lane mains and players had a whole season of just split pushing, because that's what it was, and now that that's not supposed to be what you do, they don't know what to do. They've kind of forgotten of, oh, lane phase, lane phase, lane phase, skirmish, group, occasionally split push. A lot of them are still in that default split push mentality. So Diana's off her way to top lane. They do end up getting a kill. Obviously, this Vi, it is worth saying that it's not gone well for them, but because Fraz has mainly played it well, the Vi has been very huggy with this VAYNE. You know, she was top lane a lot trying to help this VAYNE out. You know, still up there now. Oh, this Bard is a god. Oh, he got her. He's a god. Well done, Bard. Fair play to him. All right, build-wise, just a Bramble. So again, I'm not sure, like, how quickly, or again, hilariously, I don't even know if Fraz will buy a Titanic Hydra this game. I'm not even sure. I know eventually he'll be in his build. Wow, that Nasus got that Jhin. That is actually kind of crazy. Jeez, that's kind of nuts. I don't know if that's the strength showing of Nasus or a weak showing of Jhin. I'm not sure. Or just an unfortunate situation. But yeah, I don't honestly know how like long this game lasts. And again, Titanic will be... Oh, TP top lane. Titanic obviously will be on Fraz's mind. But because he's already this strong, he may be like, I'll just get tankier and tankier and tankier and tankier, and then I'll buy a Titanic eventually. That could be it. Maybe if the game was a bit closer, he'd feel the need, oh, I need to do a bit more damage, so I'll buy a Titanic. But his team is obviously doing quite well overall. So there might be a few reasons to why he's not getting it now. Obviously, it goes without saying, Thornmail is a very good item against most of the enemy team. Vayne's an auto-attacker, Vi's an auto-attacker, Nasus, it's a counter to him. Ezreal less so, but still it's good. He rushed Kaenic Rooken. Again, I've said it a few times. This item is going to get nerfed. I can guarantee it. When you actually read this item, it is crazy overpowered. But people just have, like, I think people are starting finally to see this item a bit more. But yeah, 400 health from one item, 80 magic resist, which is a lot, base mana health regen. But then the big one, after not taking any magic damage for 12 seconds, so like after you spawn and you run or whatever, gain a magic shield for 600. And that, by the way, I think scales as well. Like, it's nuts. So Fraz just stole blue. It is worth just saying, buffs nowadays are worth more than they ever used to be. Why? Because you get to share it with more people. So right now, before 20 minutes, you only can share it with one other person, your jungler, or one other player that's not a jungler. after 20 minutes, obviously buffs are shared to all your team. So stealing the enemy blue buff after 20 minutes or stealing the enemy red buff after 20 minutes is actually really valuable. Like, really valuable. And just to put it in perspective of the difference of playstyle and everything, you have Vayne with 1 item versus Mundo with 3. This is where that kind of playstyle of just going for farm really matters. This is basically, to me, what you're kind of watching. This is the healthy version of the Bouse of FS strategy. Because it genuinely is. It's all about farm, ignoring your opponent, and just prioritizing farm to get your quickest way to items. Because farm is the way to get gold easiest and quickest. It really is. So this is just ignoring the inting part. But that's what it is. And it's not a new thing that farming is amazing. It's just when you're against something like a Vayne, the will to fight it as a Mundo or whatever is low. So I guarantee if Fraz was against something, let's say, more normal in top lane, he probably wouldn't be at 170 farm. He probably wouldn't even be 8-0 at this stage. It would have been actually more even. But because he's against a Vayne, he's really tried just go farm, and that's actually made him richer, and thus he's been able to snowball more. So as weird as it sounds, being against a Vayne actually has focused Fraz more. Which sometimes you have to. Certain matchups, obviously really tough ones or cheese ones, you really have to pay attention, because if you muck up, you're going to die and they're going to snowball, and letting a Vayne top snowball is disastrous. So it'd be interesting to see if we're now going to get this Titanic Hydra on the go. I hope so, because again, I'd hope we'd show how much crazy damage Fraz would actually be doing with it. Because just put perspective, just with the way of Mundo, he is 268 AD right now. That's his base AD. I think if he presses E, it's more. So it is a crazy amount of attack damage for something that so far has built 0 attack damage. And if you'd like, how does he have that much? He gets, see their passive, Dr. Mundo gains 180 attack damage. He gains it from his health. And that's why Titanic is such a good item with Mundo as well, because Titanic scales of health as well. So it's kind of crazy. So there, red buff for everybody. That was the enemy team red, so it's very valuable to steal it. Ooh, that W did not look like it was supposed to hit. Mundo going in. Can the enemy team do anything? Clonk, clonk, clonk. Very nice. So again, the game genuinely may end before he actually gets the Titanic, unfortunately. But it just shows that, well, he didn't even need to get there, and he can just take over a game. I would say... Oh, he's going to buy it now, I guess. He's got TP to come back. Here we go. Oh, he's got a component of it. Oh, he's selling stuff. He's got a pickaxe. So he is buying it next, but he can't afford the whole Titanic, unfortunately. But I would say, obviously, and I'm sure people do think this. Again, that damage... I do think Juggernaut/tanks are very strong right now in the game. It's just been overshadowed at the beginning of the season by lethality and AP melee champs. With nerfs hopefully coming, well, AP melee's already been nerfed a bit. I don't know if lethality is, because Riot loves lethality. Look how little damage is happening there. No MR yet. I doesn't need it. Because again, it's just Xerath. But yeah, I'd hope potentially tanks will be a bit looked at in the next few patches. Obviously, of me recording this, I'm recording this on Monday. You're seeing this actually, I think, Monday, second video. Tomorrow, I'll be recording the patch note video. I never look in detail what the patch is. I always kind of record it as it happens. So we'll see what the patch is tomorrow. But anyway, there you go. So 11:07, over 80 farm difference in top lane at 24 minutes. All because of the playstyle of, I'm ignoring you, I'm going to farm, I'm going to last hit well. If you don't do that, well then you're going to get really far behind in farm, but I'm going to control the minion wave well, and then I'm going to get really far ahead, and then I'm going to go help my team. Top lane. That just is a good top lane performance. That's great. So hopefully some people, especially who play top lane at the moment, may think of a new pick to play against Vayne if it's ever locked in. Mundo, but don't fight her early. Wait at least to level 6, but also see how it goes. If you guys did enjoy, though, do throw a like on it, throw a comment, throw a subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.